Calling the zoning hearing board for the Township of Lower Makefield for October 1st, 2024 to order. We have 4 members of the board present at the current time, so for an appeal to pass, it requires a majority, which is 3 of the 4. So if that impacts how you feel about presenting tonight, please let us know when you come up and request a continuance. That will change shortly. So speaking of which, first up is Appeal Z24-13, which has requested a continuance.
Well, you want to see if there's any public comment?
Yeah. Is there any comment on the Z24-13 from anybody here? Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue Appeal Z24-13 to October 15th, 24.
I'll second.
Okay. That was the continuance that was requested, by the way. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That is continued to October 15th. As long as we're discussing continuances, we're going to skip ahead one here to Appeal Z24-23. This afternoon, they sent in a letter requesting a continuance to November 19th. Is there any discussion on that item?
I'll move that Appeal Z2423 be continued to November 19th.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we got 2 of 5 down already. Next up is Appeal Z24-22. If you can come forward up to the table there, if you're in the room. Yep. And state your name and get sworn in. And in the meantime, Adam's going to read in the exhibits.
We have the application.
Rich Purcell.
Well, just wait a second here.
We have the application as A1, the site plans as A2, the impervious surface, breakdown calculations, along with the stormwater management small project volume control sheets are collectively A3. B1, proof of publication, B2, proof of posting, and B3, notice to the neighbors.
Could you state and spell your full name, please?
Rich Purcell.
Spell it.
P-U-R-S-E-L-L.
You sound swear or affirm testimony about the case with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Hey guys.
Make sure you stay close enough to the microphone, like that was fine there, but
Okay.
it would be picked up for people online, and we do have our 5th board member now, just in time.
Great. So what's the ratio now?
It's still 3 out of 5.
Okay, good.
But you can't tie. That's the important part.
Perfect.
So go ahead and explain what it is you're looking for here.
So my wife and I moved to Lower Makefield a year and a half ago. We were looking for a bigger property where we could put a pool in. We were both fortunate enough to have grown up with pools when we, with our families. And our family's expanding currently. We're expecting our first 2 grandchildren, and we would like them to have the same things that we had when we were growing up. And my wife and I also both have joint replacements, and our doctors think that it would be good to have aqua therapy. So that's the reason we want to get a pool.
All right, questions from the board, or do you guys want to put the plan up for anybody? Okay.
Yeah, Dave, we're looking to share the screen. Okay, thank you.
Okay, questions from the board? Actually, I have a question, I probably should have asked this earlier, pre-meeting, was, I know there's been discussion about changing the status of how pools are considered for impervious. Is that changed yet or not?
That has not changed yet. We're looking at that from not necessarily a zoning perspective, but more so from calculation of stormwater management and taking into consideration that the area of the pool be classified as impervious for the purposes of stormwater management. But that is not yet acted upon. It's should be done by the end of this year, though.
Okay, thank you. So for members of the board, just putting that out there, since obviously these are variances.
So what is the allowable impervious in this district? Dan, can you help me with that?
24.
The allowable is 24%. They're existing at 21.6, and proposed is 26.3.
And per the township regulations, they're mitigating for the whole increase in impervious.
Yep. Yeah, there's,
So
yep.
it's different than our usual statement.
So they're going to need to mitigate back to 21.6.
They're going well below that. Yep.
Okay,
So 117 cubic feet is required, and they're doing 209, so they're well over what's required.
So I'm looking at the building plan, and am I correct that part of this parcel is in the flood zone?
That is correct. There's a small stream, Rock Run, that goes through the property, and they've delineated the floodplain, which is a studied stream, therefore it's by elevation, and the pool and the house are not located within the floodplain.
How about the infiltration trench?
Also not located within the floodplain.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
So, question here, Dan, Jim. So they're mitigating back to lower than the 21.6?
Yes. So they're
Because I was reading it as they were mitigating just the increased impervious area, which is your requirement, but.
I think they are bringing it below the existing, because so to go from 21.6 to 26.3, 117 cubic feet of control volume is required, and they're doing 209, so they are bringing it below the existing.
Okay. It isn't entirely clear from the design here exactly how the grading on your property goes. Is the pool downstream from the house and the trench drain downstream from that?
The pool is downstream from the house. And I would imagine the trenches, this is from the pool guy, right? I would imagine that the trench is.
Ben, please try to stay with the microphone too.
I imagine the trench is beyond the pool, so it's going to be away from the house.
No, but does your property grade away from the
Yes,
house? So
it
it does
does.
grade,
Yes.
grades away from the
Yes.
house?
Okay, there we are. There's a sketch. All right.
Should be in the second page of your packet as well.
That microphone comes out if you want to walk around, kind of show off a little bit. You're welcome to. Yeah, just make it your show.
I don't want to be making it a show.
Now you got to hold it up. I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, I'm just here to, get through this variance, that's all.
I thought I heard you say you did want to make it a show.
No show.
Oh, okay. It's because you weren't talking in the microphone, I didn't hear you.
Matt or Mike, anything you want to add here? Ask?
No, I was concerned about the floodplain, but it appears everything's out of it, so. And if he's mitigating back, then I'm okay with what he's proposing.
Okay,
Same. Yeah, looks good.
all right. We do not have the township here tonight, so next up, is there any public comment in the room on this appeal? And given that I don't see a light on, I'm assuming there's no public comment online. Nope, okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Appeal Z2422 as presented, where at present there's an existing 21.6% impervious surface with a proposed 26.3% impervious surface, and then being mitigated back to below 21.6% impervious surface.
I'll second.
I think we should add subject to review and approval by the township engineer.
Subject to review from our township engineer at the time of construction.
Second.
I would like to, another comment here, I would like to change it to mitigating to the extent proposed in this appeal. Since it's more than the 21.6%, we might as well get the benefits of further water runoff mitigation.
I'll second that amendment.
Okay, any discussion? Any comments?
I have no comments.
Okay. All right.
Any reason why the zoning board banner below everything says 918?
What?
On television.
On the television, it's saying 918.
It's a graphic error, we'll fix that.
Because I just didn't know if it was, issue, we're making decisions in the past, so.
Mike apparently likes watching himself.
Time travel. Time travel.
Should we revote, Mike?
No, I think we're good. I'm good. I was good before, I'm good now.
All right, all those in favor of the appeal as just discussed?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries 5-0. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Next up is Appeal Z24-24. If you can come up to the table and you can sit down and get sworn in, and Adam's going to read in the exhibits here.
You sit there.
All
Just
right.
hold the mic close.
We have the application as A1, two-sheet site plan as A2. Again, the impervious surface and stormwater management sheets collectively are A3, B1, proof of publication, B2, proof of posting, B3, notice to the neighbors, and just in the interest of full disclosure, the HAFTs are family friends of my family. I'm not a voting member of this board, though, but just in the interest of full disclosure.
Would you each state and spell your full name, please?
Sure. I'm Leah Haft, Leah-H-A-F-T.
And Jason Haft, J-A-S-O-N, same last name, H-A-F-T.
J-S-O-N.
J-A-S-O-N.
Do you both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
It
Yes.
looks like we have a presenter on screen, too, that
Yes.
needs to be sworn in.
Yep.
Would you state and spell your full name, sir?
Sure. My name is Bruno Morganhera,
Spell that.
B-R-U-N-O. Last name Morganhera, it's M-O-R-G-A-N-H-E-I-R-A.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead and tell us what it is you're asking for here and what you intend to do and the relief.
Okay. Jason Lee, you want me to start?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I guess, sure, I guess Bruno can start and we can answer questions, and, yeah, I guess I'll start and say we've lived in this house for what, 12 years now? it's been 12 years now. The pool's an original pool. We've always wanted to, upgrade it a bit and add some covered space in the back for the family. And we've got a plan for it here, and Bruno will let him do his thing.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Just like Jason mentioned, they purchased the house back in 2012. The pool in the surrounding area was there already. If you scroll down on the plan, you'll see there's a section that shows what is currently at the property. Right there, the existing on the left there. So there's already currently a pool, surrounding concrete deck area, a little pool shed. So we're going to renovate the pool. The pool is not working well. There's a lot of issues with the tile, plaster, coping, plumbing, everything. So we want to redo the pool. As part of this project, we also want to add on a covered space coming off the back of the house, which is a covered deck area, which on the right shows you where the covered deck's going to go, install off the back of the house. And if you scroll back up on the plan, it gives you a little bit of a better idea as to where it's located. It's labeled as the covered deck. Okay. The property is currently already at 29.8%. Unfortunately, the homeowner did not know that the property was over on the max impervious when they purchased the house. Like I said, they've been there for, I think Jason mentioned, over 12 years, 2012. And they just found out that they were over when they recently surveyed the property so that they could go forward with the project of renovating the pool as well as adding the covered deck. So what we are asking for is an additional 409 square feet, which is the covered deck space as well as a small area extra worth of a pool deck. It's approximately 70 square feet. By adding this onto the project, you can see on the plan we are proposing stormwater for the additional 409 square feet, which requires 68 cubic feet of volume storage. Our plan shows that we are proposing 72 square feet of volume storage, so it's a little bit more than what's required, but over what's needed at the 68 cubic feet. Property grades downhill. We're also placing the stormwater seepage bed downhill as well. You can see that there's a swale going to be cut on the left side of the pool to try and control the water so it doesn't go onto the neighbor's house. We're also putting in a few drains to collect water coming off the walkway leading down to the pool deck. This is an area that tends to hold water on the property, so we want to make sure the water goes. And that allows us to collect some of that runoff off the pool deck. And then you can see the downspouts off the covered deck are also running into the seepage bed. So all of the extra impervious that we are adding on will be the stormwater from that will go onto the proposed seepage bed. The plan has already been approved by Bucks County Conservation District. Then I'll turn it back over to the HAFTs. I believe they spoke with their neighbors, and I don't know if you can provide some feedback on that.
Yeah, so we've spoken with both of our neighbors on each side, reviewed the plan with them. I don't believe they have any objections. One of them actually wrote a very nice letter saying that she's excited for it. Their kids will enjoy the pool. We have them over frequently. You spoke with, I guess, the neighbors across the street as well. They have no issues with it. I believe everything we're proposing is downgrade from every other house in the neighborhood, and behind us is just, it's just woods that runs into a creek. So I don't believe there's any other properties that would be affected by this.
I have nothing else to add.
Question here for Dan and Jim. If we were to ask for mitigation back to 28%, what would that do to the proposed trench. 20,
let me
excuse me, back to
calculate.
24,
Yeah, the
back
variance is 24.
back to the 24, yes, excuse me.
Yeah, let me calculate that for you. It'll take
Okay.
Just a minute.
So Bruno, I don't know if you know the numbers on this, but we have an existing seepage bed that was put in when we did an addition, and that was in 2019 and 2020, I think. I don't know if you know the size of that.
Don't know off the top of my head, but I know that it's in the township's records because they have provided that to me when we did the right to know. But they have that information on record there.
Was the variance, that's another question then for the township here, did we have a variance for that addition then?
So,
Not that I'm aware
yeah,
of.
at the time that was done, so we were basically advised that we took away some impervious, we added some impervious, and we were told it was net neutral. So we were told there was no need for a variance, but it never came up that we were already over. So this is the first we'd ever heard of that.
So roughly, to bring it back to 24, they would need a 3 by 6 by 30 trench.
Do either of you know if there's water already back there, creek, whatever? I don't think
It's-
so. I'm kind of looking.
It's there.
Yeah, that's what I was looking.
Yeah, you mean behind the house? Yeah, you want me to point out where it is on there?
Yeah.
If you go all the way back, I think it's right here, you can
That's
kind of
what
see
I
it.
thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a little creek down there. And this is all, that's just a hill that runs down, and then it goes back up.
Jim and Dan, if you turn on the streams layer on the parcel viewer, you can see the stream line pretty well. Just as a heads up.
Thank you. I thought that's what it was there. Water rise. I was far
They keep moving this stuff.
I know.
No, but you can put that on.
to this day are going out in boats.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I see.
And that line doesn't accurately reflect the location of it.
It's just,
And it's more towards the top of the screen, you can see that dark area that
Yeah, that's what I thought.
meanders around.
it's wet. Slower make it, let me,
Jim,
So-
quick question for you on this,
set my garden.
on the viewer. I'm looking at the same viewer, and obviously, you never quite trust property lines that are shown on a viewer per se, right? But the property lines on the viewer show what looks like, I don't know if that's a swing set or something like that in the back, or maybe even a fence off the back on township property versus this property. Do we know if that's accurate or not?
I think that's township.
I don't believe that's accurate. Your property is fenced in, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Should be.
Yeah. If you hold on one second, I could just check something real quickly.
I see what you're saying, Dan. It looks like it's mowed past the line.
Yeah. North. We've had people tell us that they were told that was their property.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
Mhm.
I said that was, when they said, look how beautiful it was puffing. Realtors puff.
And Mr. Morgan Harry, you mentioned there was a recent survey done that may have indicated that why they were previously over impervious, just didn't know. How recent was that survey, and did it show property lines, other features like fence and whatnot?
The survey was done this year in 2024, recently.
Was it a boundary survey, or did it show fence and other features on the site?
It showed proposed pool fence. It showed topography. It's all shown on the plan that we provided.
Okay.
I believe, Jason, this fence was installed when you purchased the house, right?
Yeah, correct. The fence was already there. And the swing set was there. We replaced it, but it's the same exact spot.
And actually, Mr. Grenier is correct. There appears to be a discrepancy in the location of your fence. Compared to your survey, the survey shows that the dimension of the property is 160 feet, and that would take you out to the parcel line that is depicted on the screen. So it almost looks like your fence is 20 feet off on that right side of the property. So that will have to be relocated off of our property.
Okay.
Okay.
Not a great start. Quick question. So Jason, you mentioned that you folks installed a seepage bed when you did an addition, yet you weren't required to, right? Because it was net neutral impervious. And like you said at the time, it didn't even come up that you were already over the allowable. What was the rationale for installing that seepage bed? Do you know, or was it just the engineer who did it? I mean, the engineer may have knowingly mitigated you back to 24 without you knowing it.
I'm not sure. That project was like one of these things that started really small and then got really big. And at some point, we just were just like, okay, we want to be done with this thing. So I don't recall exactly.
Do you recall when that was?
2019.
Yeah, it was 20. Did it start in 19? Oh yeah, it definitely started in 19. I think they probably broke ground in like February or March of 19, and they finished in like August or September.
So did you break ground in February of 2019, but possibly submitted for permits at the end of 2018? Is that a possibility?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm just trying to help the guys check our records. So when I look at the building plan, page 1, we have the existing impervious, all in orange, and then we have the proposed impervious, but the patio surround is, looks like I know that it's a different shape than what's in the existing, but it looks like some of that should be orange, yes? Do you know what I mean by that?
Now, can we want to go back to that view real quick?
Like right up here, if you want to take a look. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you see on the left, I mean, clearly it's been expanded, but from a drawing standpoint, it probably should, the one on the right needed to still have some orange around the pool, and then have the purple where it's new. I mean, it's not like a huge thing, but I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. So we have the engineer online. Is my understanding of it correct or incorrect?
So with the pool deck, though the shape has changed, it's only an increase of 70 square feet. But the 70 square feet
Yeah, I see that.
really comes from the walkway. If you notice, one of the biggest differences, there was on the image on the right, there was a small L-shaped walkway that really led to nowhere. We changed it now, so it opened it up for a walkway down from the driveway down to the pool area, and then connects to the steps on the deck. So that's really where the change is, the extra 70 square feet that we're asking for. Though the pool deck on the right looks like it's bigger, it's really the same size, it's just a different shape.
Thank you for clarification.
No problem.
Matt or Mike? All right, well, for the moment right then, we'll see if there's any public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? You can come up to a microphone, please. You can ask a question then, yeah. But do it at the microphone so people that aren't here can hear you.
And you need to be sworn in.
State your name
Okay.
and get sworn in.
All right.
State your full name.
Stephen Robert Horowitz,
Spell your name.
Horowitz,
Spell your first name.
Steven.
So I swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
do. I have a question. I don't have any party to any of this, but as a viewer, I'm watching and looking at plans, and I've grown up with neighbors with swimming pools. I have been 25 years in this township with a neighboring home with a pool. My question is, this pool is undergoing some renovations, and it may be a simple question. What are you going to do with the water? Where is the water pumped out from the pool? Is it directed to the rear of the yard, or is it pumped out into the street? This is like my question to whomever can answer it. What is the common way to dispose of this chlorinated, I assume it's chlorinated, is it salt water?
It's chlorinated. Saltwater is chlorinated too. Yeah, it's chlorinated.
So where does this chlorinated water go, and what is the impact to the environment?
Yeah, you want to answer that? I think I know the answer.
Well, I can probably answer that question. Typically, at the end of the season, what they do is you just let the pool sit for 3 to 5 days, and all the chlorine dissipates. And then when you pump out the pool, it's just plain old water then.
That's at the end of the season, and that's, okay. It's not been my experience. My experience is my neighbors have been pumping pool water inappropriately whenever maintenance is done, not letting it sit 5 days, and doing damage to the environment. That's why I posed the question, because based on the plan, I mean, I'm just wondering, what do you do with the water in the pool when you pump it out? You're going to pump out the entire pool, I presume, or most of it? No?
Yeah, well-
Just bring it down so you can redo it? Okay. Well, my experience, my neighbor did that a couple of years ago, and they came out, the company that came out and did it twice in the middle of the season in a matter of 2 weeks. Yes. And they first pumped it into the environment, and we said, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, you can't do that. You got to pump it into the street. But they pumped it into the street with such force that they damaged the street. And the street's never been fixed. And it's right at a water, what's the proper word, at a drain, I guess, that leads to a lake down the street. So I just had concern about what do people do, what should they do with pool water? So, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. We keep, just so you know, so we keep the chlorine extremely low, and we do that because I add chlorine every day. So I think what a lot of people do is have a pool company come and they add it once a week. So you have to add enough so that it lasts all week. If you add it every day, you only add a little bit at a time. And I know that if I let it sit for, it's probably only like 2 days, it will go to true zero. And I know that because I test it every day. And she can tell you that because she hates when I go out and spend time with the pool.
I understand. I'm familiar with pools. I've been maintaining pools. I maintained my neighbor's pool until the last two owners in the last 5 years or so. And pool companies should know to do this, and they don't. So just,
Okay.
thank you for allowing me to speak, and good luck with your...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Not your night. So, we still looking for answers for something?
I have a question.
Well, I think the question,
Question
someone
was-
raised the question as to what would it take to bring the impervious down to 24% effectively with stormwater, and Dan had given that
3 by
dimension.
6 by 30, yeah.
I could be mistaken, but I seem to recall that when other people have come in here that were already over the allowable, when they wanted a variance, we had them go back, because people had to go back to at least close to 18.
That this area is 24%.
I know,
That's what I understand.
that's what I'm saying. But, and it's already over, and like I said, if it was 24, I've had people, we've told them you have to go back to what it's supposed to be, even if it wasn't quite your fault. So that was my question.
I mean, that's not really a question, that's what we've been, general practice we've been doing, but it can change, but that's what we've been
So,
doing.
so I guess, Mr. and Mrs. Haft, would you be willing to work with your engineer and our township engineers to install a seepage bed with the specs that were suggested at 3 by 6 by 30 to mitigate impervious all the way back to 24?
Yeah, does that account for the existing seepage bed that we already have?
I don't believe that accounted for the existing. If we could provide something documented on that, about what was installed, would the board be
Sure.
willing to consider that?
Absolutely.
In addition to
Well,
whatever else?
I
is
can only speak for
necessary?
me, but yes.
I would have no problem as long as the township engineers were able to get that information.
I guess I do have a question here. Isn't new developments mitigating for 100% of new impervious surfaces, though? What's the current strategy on new development?
All impervious surface must be mitigated. So,
So basically, so I think this is open for discussion on the board here. I'm open to the extra mitigation because I'm pretty sure it still isn't taking them back that far, and we need the mitigation for downstream reasons, per my opinion. So I guess we can see what the other board members are leaning towards.
So Pete, I'm a little confused. Could you state?
If
state
it
what
was
you're
new
pointing at?
if it was new development, they're effectively mitigating back to zero.
That's in our code?
That's a state code. Any new development has to have stormwater mitigation.
What's the definition of no? Back to what year?
Well, we're jumping terminologies, but, so,
What
so I
year- what year
think
was
our
it
board
passed?
looks at it as, you're mitigating back to a percentage based upon the fact that we have a lot of development that didn't have stormwater mitigation for it. And I think that, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're looking at it as mitigate to what we have discussed, that dimension given by Dan, no matter what, because it still doesn't meet the PA regulations for stormwater, but it's an improvement.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to convey, Matt.
So, Dan or Jim, this area isn't part of a master development, correct?
could you repeat that, please?
Is this area part of a master development where there's a stormwater infrastructure for the development? I don't remember where this is in the town.
I would think
Yes,
so.
this is a Reland Homes development.
Okay.
Done as part of the Farmview subdivision, so they did farmland preservation. They built on half the property, preserved the other half, and have stormwater management facilities, stormwater management basins in the development to handle all the peak flow of runoff from everything. The DEP requirements of the state require that all small scale, like items like this, development, that they account for the water volume that is generated. So that's the calculation we have in our ordinance, that this is accounting for all of the runoff.
Up to the 24, okay.
Was
And
your-
this
So
is-
24,
yeah.
or down
So
to
there's a
20.
master stormwater plan that accounted for the first 24% of impervious, correct?
Even a little bit more than that, but
A bit
yes, on a whole through the development, at least 24.
Was farmland preservation given notice on this? Because it does back directly onto where they do farm, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
doesn't back to farmland.
It doesn't back to the farmland, okay. To the wooded area then,
Wooded area.
Correct.
okay.
All right, then I amend my request, my suggestion to 24% plus whatever consideration for the already installed added stormwater mitigation measures for where I stand on it.
I would agree with you, Peter. I think that's reasonable. I do have a little concern that we're over 30%, but
Mr. Majewski, does the impervious calculation consider the surface area and volume of the pool, or is it strictly the coping, as we're looking to update our definitions and requirements in the code?
It does not include the water surface. I know we have the amendment that we are considering that will change that, but for now, it currently does not account for that open area of the pool that retains some water.
Okay. And just for the applicant's information, so they understand why I'm asking the question, the township is doing a comprehensive update to all of our stormwater management rules. If you may recall, in July of 2023, there was massive flooding in the township and the surrounding areas, so we've taken a comprehensive approach throughout the township to go through and update all of our stormwater rules for new development and other developments. So we're starting to see some of that roll out now, and part of that is how we address impervious surface and mitigation relative to things like swimming pools. I don't know that it's hit the books just yet, but that's the way we're moving because it's become a very big deal in the township. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more public comment? I do not see the light on, so I'm assuming there's no comment online. Okay, I make a motion to appeal Z24-24 with I know it's the incorrect language, effective impervious reduced back to 24%, but with the consideration of any already installed stormwater measurements to be considered by the engineer in the calculation of what's required, township engineer. And that the plan is subject to approval and review with the township engineer.
The fence, the fence encroachment.
I believe that's just enforcement by the township. That's not a variance.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do need to take a look at that just to make sure it's possible there's a survey error in that dimension, or you have to relocate the fence.
Okay.
Is there a second for the motion?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
I'm fine with it.
I'm okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like a copy of the letter from our neighbor, or do you want us to keep it?
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't complicate.
All right, next up is Appeal Z24-25. State name this morning.
Stephen, Cecilia. You guys have to go first, or do I give mine?
Just wait and see what they did.
Yeah.
Okay, spell your name for me.
Stephen, Cecilia, Sicilia.
Lisa, Lisa, last name Sicilia.
Do you both solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Adam, want to read the exhibits?
I would love to. We have the application as A1, one-sheet site plan as A2. Once again, the impervious surface, breakdown calculations, and stormwater management small project volume controls, collectively A3. B1, proof of publication, B2, proof of posting, and B3, notice to the neighbors.
Okay, go ahead and explain what it is you're planning on doing here.
So, like the previous people, we bought our house 12 years ago. I've grown up in Lower Makefield. We bought our house 12 years ago.
Excuse me, wait a second here. You still, is he presenting with you?
Is that Mr. Salvia?
Yeah, that's our contractor.
Okay, he'll need to be sworn in too.
Okay.
Sir, would you state and spell your full name?
Sure, it's Mike Salvo,
Spell your last name for me.
S-A-L-V as in Victor O.
Do Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can resume now.
Thank you. So we bought our home 12 years ago. We did not want a pool. We loved the house, so we took the pool. Recently, we had a number of issues. We had to get a new liner. We need some new concrete around the border of the pool. We also have an old patio, which is beat up, and the retaining wall is made of railroad ties that are crumbling and falling over at this point. So as a safety measure, I think we would like to upgrade, and aesthetically as well, some steps down to the pool for my father, who has Parkinson's disease. Makes it a little safer for him when the kids play. It gets wet, and he likes to come over for that.
Questions from the board, and I expect there's a couple.
Are you proposing stormwater mitigation? I don't see anything on the plan.
Yeah, I had emailed Dan. I was actually looking for it today. I couldn't find the email, but he had told me the cubic feet needed, and we were going to run it along the side. You see, that's 25 feet there right now. Just a bunch of lawn chairs. It looks like there. I think we were going to do 25 by 3 by 3, I believe, for the mitigation for the seepage pit. I believe that was what we needed. Again, I could not find that today. It was one of those days that once I got back into the home office, I just didn't have the proper information, or I couldn't find it.
Is there a street view?
And Dan, is this area is 25% or is it 18%?
Right.
The allowable is 18%.
18, might not be.
And does that mitigate him back to the 18, or is that?
No, what they're proposing is a little bit above. So what the stormwater would cover from the existing to the proposed. If they were to get it back, if you would like them to get it back to the 18, it would need to be roughly 3 by 6 by 35. So essentially, they would just need to make it a bigger trench.
So just 3 feet wider, right?
See the street view?
2 feet wider.
2 feet wider.
So would you guys be open to that?
The question is being asked to you.
We would. I would have to talk to Mike. This is, verbiage means nothing to me when we're talking about it, so I'm just trying to figure it out.
It's a bigger hole in the ground than what you were thinking at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You'll never see it. But
Yeah, we would make it work.
Then that would be fine with us.
Okay, yeah, can you zoom in on it? You do have the creek situation again here behind it, so.
I can't.
Yeah, that's, the creek is back there.
It looks like it's right there on the back side of your property.
It is.
It is. And
So there's a slope from the screen porch down to the pool, and then the pool sits obviously on a flat level, and then another slope down a bit to the creek.
is there any floodplain on this property?
No.
It's a good question, because that creek, we have had floodplain delineation issues with that creek farther downstream.
Yep.
Yeah, the FEMA regulated floodplain is not shown on the Bucks County map.
We bought that house for a reason.
Yeah, this area does not have a delineated floodplain. And it's not a large drainage area upstream, so it's minimal in this area. This is basically the headwaters of the stream.
Jim, do you know if it's within 50 feet of the 50 feet of the top of the bank of the stream?
Easily.
Could you repeat that?
Is the proposed work to be done within 50 feet of the top of bank of the stream?
It looks like it's right about at 50 feet.
Yeah, but there's the existing pools within the 50 feet.
Yeah, well, what I'm referencing is the state's Chapter 105 requirements for permits required for development within 50 feet of within the assumed 50-foot regulated floodway of a stream.
Yeah, I believe they're right at that limit.
Is this considered a regulated floodway stream?
So a regulated floodway applies to any stream in the Commonwealth that has not had a FEMA study completed, which is most of them.
Behind me, they never would have built the house.
Right, and alternatively, we could have them do a calculation just to verify what the floodway would be, which wouldn't be terribly difficult to do, just to verify that they meet that and to double check that 50 feet. It's very close, within a foot or two.
Well, that would also impact where they put the infiltration basin then too, technically, correct?
Correct.
Although it looks like there's the space there and the ground generally slopes, so even if they did pull it closer to the house, it's still functional.
I would agree.
All right, well, let the board think a little bit more. Is there any public comment? And I still do not see a light on, so I'm assuming no public comment online, so back to the board.
So just a clarification, what is the existing and what's the proposed? I know 18% is the allowable.
25% existing, proposed is 27.5.
So when I consider Dan's point about the regulated waterway and 50 feet buffer, I kind of look at this house and I think this condition probably is grandfathered. I would assume this pool predates that state ordinance. I don't know that I'm right. Maybe Matt or Dan knows that, or even Pete, but so that to me is not a consideration, unless I'm wrong. But again, I would think that this pool and its surround probably predates that ordinance, probably. So I'm more concerned about how do we get back to an effective 18% stormwater management. It sounds like if we did a 3x6 by 35 seepage bed, we could do that. But my primary concern is really the best way to orient that on the site, because we do have this waterway at the rear of the house. So, and I don't have any expertise when it comes to how that seepage bed should be oriented to catch as much water as possible. Perhaps any of the engineers sitting in this hearing might have an opinion on that.
One possible method would be to take one of the roof leaders from the house and pipe that in the seepage bed, and that would control some of the water that would run off towards the stream while the water from the decking runs off. So it's sort of, instead of running off from the right, it'll run off from the left and be the same.
And if these contours are correct, another one that could be done would be to put it on the south edge of the proposed coping profile there, because that's the low spot on the grading plan there, and you would catch all the water coming down from the house and the slope there, and not be within the 50 feet. So there's options.
So from a functional standpoint, it can be executed.
Yes.
Thank you. So folks, what we're trying to decide is how you guys get your pool, and we mitigate the stormwater back to 18%. And then this way, it's good for you, it's good for your neighbors, it's good for the environment. And quite frankly, you told me you were having some problems with your liner pool. I would think part of the reason is that water table might get high when we get some heavy rains, and it may be pushing, you may be getting some hydrostatic pressure on that.
The liner was the original liner when
It was
first
also
moved
20
in.
years old.
It was a
so
little over 20
I don't
years
know.
old.
I'm not a pool expert. I didn't look to buy a pool. We ended up buying a house with a pool.
And now here you are.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Here
I
you are.
can't imagine liners normally last that long.
It just evolved, the project.
In case you didn't know, we do have a wonderful public pool. Right.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll look into that, thank you.
No, oh, you're right, that one is also.
Okay, I guess we'll have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Z 24-25, subject to remediating the impervious coverage back to 18%, subject to review and approval by the township engineer.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No, just, folks, do you know what we're talking about here?
I don't
want-
know what that looks like as far as the plan, so we would have to have that conversation with Mike and redesign.
It's a bigger hole in the ground.
Yeah, it's just a bigger hole in the ground. We can tie the downspout in, and maybe at the beginning of the seepage pit, at the end of the patio, we could just leave some river rocks so the water can seep into it a lot quicker than just slowly percolating into the grass during heavier rains.
Sounds great.
So you're getting what you want.
You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, come
With
up
a bigger
an
hole.
idea. Go and talk with Dan.
It sounds bad
Yeah.
that you won't see it. You won't know it's even there.
Yeah, you'll be playing badminton on it.
That's true.
He's actually very good.
You actually knew I was a big badminton player?
I could tell pickleball too, right? Pickleball?
I'm a badminton guy.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, have a great night, guys.
All right, take care. Thanks, Leon.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, moving on to other business.
I thought we were going to not have these second meetings a month. What happened to that?
Well, we have a whole lot of appeals at the second meeting.
Yeah,
Well,
what happened?
do you want to give the update, Jim, on what's coming up, and then we can ask Matt what his plan is?
Well, I know the next meeting, we were scheduled to have the Canine Resort
Yeah.
dog facility on. That is going to be continued until sometime in November. However, we have, I think, 5 other applications, including the Miller one that's continued, or is it 6?
6.
I keep saying 5.
6, including the Miller one.
Yeah. So.
6 plus.
But there's nothing incredible about any of them that,
They're pretty cut and dry.
yeah, they're pretty straightforward. And we shouldn't have to have a meeting on November 4th. You may recall that the November 5th meeting, since it falls on Election Day, would be moved to Monday, the 4th. However, by loading up this next meeting, then we won't have to have one on November 4th.
Do we need to make a motion for that?
No. It's just.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Next meeting?
Next
Next
meeting,
meeting.
you would cancel the November 4th one, but then we would have, for November, instead of it being the first Thursday, or the first Tuesday, it would be the 3rd.
But again, that depends on how many appeals on top of the K-9, correct? Or that would be part of our discussion about the value of that.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, now that you've heard that, Matt, what's your plan?
So it's been fun, but I'm actually moving, so out of town, so I need to resign from the board. I don't have a set plan on what my last day would be. I've been kind of wanting to talk to you guys about what the load is and if you have enough staff and make a, reasonable decision off of that. I do still own a house there and my residence is still Yardley, or Lower Makefield, so, but knowing what the upcoming workload is, what makes the most sense for me to have my last hearing?
Probably March 2026.
Sounds good to me.
I hope I don't own a house.
We do have 3 alternates,
Okay,
so it really is more up to you at this point.
all right. I do need to be in town on the 16th, so maybe let's make the 15th. I think it's the 15th is the next one, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so let's make the 15th my last hearing. And I can be there in person.
How do you feel about dogs and cats, though? I'm just trying to figure out why that one.
Well, you do know I own 3 dogs and 2 cats, right?
Well, then, that's a good sign for our one appeal.
Then they have me. the dog.
So,
Okay.
Does that work for everybody? At the 15th?
That works?
Absolutely.
That works.
And I guess it's going to be an after meeting, too.
I think I'm going to kill you, John.
They can go to the pub.
Okay. Next up, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.